see it. Yeah, just, ooh, oh, there you go. Alrighty, 3, 2, 1, cheese. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Congratulations.
I'd like to thank the city for putting that event on. And I'd like to thank my colleagues for assisting. It wasn't just the Snyder family. I had a couple of extra hands picking up some of the trash. You may or may not want it to be recognized.
Were they voluntold?
I'm sorry?
Were they voluntold?
No, they weren't voluntold, but so the whole community project started with my wife saying, hey, you know, if they're hosting this event, we should get involved and you should try to get the ESDs involved. And so I put it out on email. So next year, hopefully, with some encouragement, we get a few more folks and maybe a little competitive, friendly competition between some of the government agencies. Yeah,
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Trophy.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I have to leave to go take care of another business.
Thank you.
Okay, I've been asked to go ahead and skip to item F8, discuss, consider resolution 24-07-02R, a resolution awarding a contract for the wastewater treatment plant WWPP Fits replacement project. Calvin, with the mouthful.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I want to start by saying, Ms. Seals, this is a budgeted item. I remember from the last time.
What do we say?
That's right. Absolutely, Councilman Arona. We received 3 bids, and we'd like to award the bid to Fence Masters. Any questions on this?
They were the least expensive.
Yes, ma'am.
They've got some experience out here. Have we used them before?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Besides the lower price, do we do any kind of background check?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The first two had their security bids as well.
Yes. The last person did not have a security bid, but the first 2, yes.
May I make a motion to approve that bid? It's presented.
Second. Mr. Graham. Oh. I have a motion from Councilman Arona, a second from Councilman Graham to approve resolution 24-07-02R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item F2, F4, and F5, we can skip. They were not approved by the hot tax board. So we'll go to item F3, discuss, consider approving a hotel occupancy tax fund request for an outdoor video display board. Conrad Seldon.
We have, I had come before the board back in May with one video board that was going to be 16 foot tall by 16 by 8 with a video screen about 6 by 5. But when I brought it before the hot tax board, they wanted something bigger, something taller. So we went back to that company, and the company doesn't make anything taller. And they make them wider, but not taller. So we got a hold of another company that somebody gave us their number, and we've been in contact with them, and they actually, in my opinion, they outdid themselves because they had the taller signs. But one of my concerns was if you've noticed the sign at Dickey's has been replaced, but the sign would have been about that tall, but that sign, it didn't last that long when the wind came and took it out. And then here, a couple of months ago, they finally redid it and got it up. So this company gave us 3 options, and But the third option, the third option was it's shaped like a boot. And you know, here in Pecos, we got boots everywhere around. Plus, we're about the rodeo. The theme of Pecos has been about the rodeo, you know. It's always been the focal point of Pecos with our museum and all that it has. So this, the name of the company is Titan, and they did in my opinion, and Charles saw it, and then the staff, and they enjoyed it. They liked it. So Tuesday night, I came back with that proposition, and they did actually option 1, 2, and 3 of that particular deal. So the last, we took option 2, which would be the tallest sign, would be about 20 foot, but it's wide. So the wind won't have, hopefully not that much of an effect with it, because over there, remember, this is right there off of the Silvers Road going into the cyclone. And there's nothing to protect it from the wind. But with this particular sign, I think it will. So we took option 2, the height and the width, and then we took from option 3, we took on the bottom, on the base, they had Pecos with the emblem that we have all around with a spur and all that. Pecos, Texas, the town of, and but we wanted that on top because on the third option they actually had it on top of the sign, and it lit up. So that's, we mixed 2 options, and we got a final quote. I guess today, yes, and I saw it. So it's going to cost us. The hot tax board approved it, so we're going to be, once if the council goes ahead and approve them, I already paid them all, so don't think about it. I already talked to Randy, brought him a hamburger. I'll be buying Art a hot dog tomorrow. So, no.
Somebody gets a hamburger and get a hot dog.
No, but if you look at the sign, and it's for about it's $155,000, and it has 5-year warranty for the digital board, and then it has a 5-year warranty for the labor. So it's covered pretty good, and then they offer free services for I think it's a year service for the electronics and all that, so they can help us, and then I think it has a lifetime warranty for a I can't remember what it was.
Software updates.
For the software, yeah. Software automatic free updates for lifetime training and support. And then the only thing that we're providing is going to be the traffic control, because when they bring it with a crane, and it's just a service road. And then the second thing that we have to provide is power. And so that's something that I guess the city is going to do it, or we'll contract somebody to take care of that. So that's and the sign is pretty awesome. I'd love to see it for real, you know, and not just a picture of it. But I'm excited about it, and I'm excited that if it's something that we like, maybe we can move forward with another one later on as our community grows with new businesses coming in.
Do we have any idea how much the electrical might be to get it running out to that sign?
We do not, no, ma'am, we have not explored that.
Where's the location gonna be at?
116 and 118,
Okay, right there, but
closer to Cyclone Ballpark, right where the county has their
on
new
the
ag facility.
southeast corner, there's power there, also on the southwest corner.
And that's where I was unsure exactly how close. I was gonna have to find out exactly how close we are now.
Gotta be 20 feet,
Okay.
with 25 feet either side, so actually 25 feet.
So that's relatively close. It's probably not gonna be outrageous to get power.
Can they use solar power though?
Huh?
Can they use solar power?
No,
Not
this
for the digital.
no, because it has all the it's a digital board, and we can change, and we can actually sell advertisement through that and it remotely they can change the message of that, because we're trying to promote Pecos, the things that are in Pecos. But if some of the businesses want to do advertising, we can sell them spots.
Where is the digital? Is it where the flag is?
The
Oh, that's
is
a
the
flag.
TV screen. Yes, sir.
Now,
That's
you
where
might-
the digital advertising
Yes,
go.
yes, sir.
Might consider going
And it's
underground
cheaper.
with the service.
Yes, sir.
Good
I would
pitch.
agree, Art. Yes, sir.
So.
Absolutely. It costs a little more, but it's much better.
It's much
This
better
type of-
appearance-wise.
Yes, sir.
So this will just be sitting on a base, or how else?
On
will
a
it be
concrete
anchored?
base.
It's on a concrete base.
And the installation and install, that price does include the concrete and everything to install the sign.
And this is the only other company we reached out to?
No, there were.
We
there was
reached out to
another one.
multiple, they are a buy board company, and this design is unique from them. It will be something that would probably qualify them as a sole source and as an art project, but we're using it as wayfinding right now from a hot tax standpoint, which is an allowable cost. We're not trying to qualify it as arts because the arts is limited to 10%. We already spent a little bit of money on movie. So that's the reason why I'm kind of directing them that this will be used for wayfinding signs.
I love the idea of the sign, but I'm not sold on the boots. Sorry, don't shoot me. I feel that, I don't know, I get the rodeo thing, but it's like boots. I don't know. I may be just a lone wolf out here, but I love the idea, but.
And I kind of thought about something like that too. It's like, well, this is for Cyclone, but then it's also the city. But yeah, the boots are a little more rodeo versus kind of, I guess, what
Like
the rattle part.
Yeah,
or
like
something, or-
sporting, advertising. I feel like it would be, I don't know, lit up. It might look different. I just feel that it's like, you can see the boot, like, you see like the flag, like the advertising or whatever, and then you still see the boot like above it. I don't know. I feel like for
It would
this amount, we could probably do something a little
It would
more
really be appropriate
streamlined.
at the rodeo grounds.
In case you would say a cyclone instead of boots or.
I don't know. Just
I mean, I don't know
something-
about the cyclone, 'cause
Yeah, not
I
a
don't-
tornado. I don't know.
I don't really think of that as Pecos either.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pecos Bill.
It's tied into our local.
King's name Pecos Bill, so they get what your Pecos Bill is, a cowboy.
It just might.
You know, and it's not really just for the Cyclone. You know, it's in that location, but it's not just about the baseball. And you gotta think about all the signs that are already outside of Pecos in the entries, where we have the town of city, the town of Pecos City, and then it has that,
The route.
the route. So that's why they kind of based it on that, because one of the things that's how they're promoting our town is Pecos. And this sign is actually to promote Pecos, not to promote just Cyclone. It's to promote anything that's happening here in Pecos, Texas.
Don't be mad.
Conrad, you live to, is it close?
You know, also,
I know.
we got the boots all over.
You know me, I just have to say
This
something.
one,
And they do a trail or a game with the museum, right? That could be added to
we
that.
can, but we were talking about that one, putting it on 285.
Could be part of the boot trail.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
That's the theme, Pecos is.
I'm sure it'll turn out beautiful and it'll come back and be like, Valerie didn't like the boots.
Hold on, can you turn up the mic, please?
Put that on tape.
No, and I can
It's
tell
not
you that-
anything against Pecos or the rodeo or the Western Feed. I love it.
You want something more unique?
I do
Well,
like the
yeah.
fact that the Pecos is up at the top and not down at the bottom.
It makes a big difference because if you had the opportunity to see all three, we got a lot of positive feedback on this design compared to the others.
Okay.
And then if you look at the base of it, if you do a cyclone, well, it's tapered down, because it's gonna be stable enough and strong enough to withstand winds. This has got a good base, it's a good wide base.
Good sturdy boots.
Yes,
Sturdy
ma'am.
boots.
Sturdy
Just wait for the next hailstorm on that digital board though.
Yeah. The other thing is in this picture, and it's kind of hard to tell, is the amount of the lighting on the boots themselves is not individual lights. There are holes that are drilled in the metal that constitute them on both sides. And we will have the capability of, depending upon the season, changing the color of the boots if we choose to. So not that that adds anything, it's still a boot. It just, doesn't matter whether it's red or blue or white or green.
Pink, whatever we want. So, are we gonna have insurance on this project? Because I can
Oh, that's
see,
the.
We would absolutely have to carry insurance on it, that it's an asset, it'll become an asset, absolutely. Yes,
It,
ma'am.
it would have been great if those LED lights we put on 116 and 118, we would have gone the ones that you could change colors remotely with an app, that way they could blend with that, you know, for the seasons and all that. But
Yeah, and one of the designs that they gave us had, on the other design, just to give you an idea, where it shows Pecos on the top of this, it had like a duplicate American flag, and then it had the Pecos, Texas on the bottom, but you're never gonna be able to see that from the interstate. So that's why I think the consensus was to look at the one where Pecos was prominent on the top, so that you could see it from the interstate, you can see it from the access roads and everything else. So that's kind of the impetus on the direction that we moved.
how big is that part, the Pecos part?
It is,
I like that it lights up the Pecos, Texas.
That's a hard question.
Well, I couldn't figure it out. from
I think it's about,
diagrams.
I'm almost sure that it's like 3 foot, is what they told us, 36
He's
inches.
got a guy there, I think that guy's 5 foot something.
Yeah, and that's where I think it's 36 inches.
those poles are.
Yeah, it'd be about 3 or 4 lights.
Yeah. And from the schematic that you see at the left, this is strictly option 3, but the quote is actually for something 20 foot tall, and that one's 18.3, so it's a little bit taller than that right now. And so it's gonna be in the neighborhood of 3 foot is what it's gonna be on the top.
The road Pecos.
Yes, sir.
Or maybe a little bit wider if they're doing it
Yes,
proportionately.
ma'am. It is.
How long will it take to make this?
It should be delivered, and once we approved it, if we approve it and all that, and we make the call tomorrow or Monday, she said a month and a half.
Yeah, she said it would take 6 to 8 weeks to get done. It is a completely new design. They manufacture, they construct the sign from scratch, so it'll be a custom build from that standpoint. They will have the design in case the council or the hot board ask for another one to happen somewhere else in the community. It would just, in essence, it's kind of like a piece of artwork, but we're not classifying it as a piece of
I
artwork.
don't guess it's our design, is it?
It's not. I'm working on
So
that.
other
I'm working on
communities
that.
could come up with it.
Yeah, I'm working on
Once
that.
they see ours, they'll want to
Yeah,
steal it.
Absolutely.
Now, can we, do you have the load, what the load's gonna be to power all this up?
I do not.
Can we get it and submit it to the power clerk? Because
We can. Absolutely not.
that way it can be ready to go once we,
Get it to me and I can get it into PowerPoint.
I will request it and get that taken.
That way we don't lose no time.
So this is right off
Yeah, you know, where it flies into,
Suggestion.
it's on the service road and then going into
It'll be less than
118.
285.
And it'll be right there. There's a sign right now, right there that points to
the
the,
small sign.
yeah, to the cyclone.
Chief's got a suggestion.
But we ought to understand, if we wanted it to just advertise cyclone, we would have put cyclone, but that's not what we wanted. The intention was to advertise for Pecos.
Events.
Something like this would be needed too at Mexico Park for the interstate too.
Yeah.
An additional one.
Chief's got something to say.
Chief has something.
Just a thought, why don't we just dress up that corner and put a baseball out there with a pair of boots? Eventually, there will be a design for a water park, hopefully. You know how you see in bigger places where there's a zoo or a water park, they dress up a corner. I think that would be an ideal corner to dress it up.
You got 2 corners.
You do. Because it's not specific for Cyclone, but you could add that as part of the design. Not part of the sign, but why not put a baseball out there? Just a thought.
I'll make a motion to approve this project. Is it for the third option, Conrad, that you're looking for? The third option?
Yes, it's a mixture of option 2 and 3, to put the Pecos up on top instead of on the bottom.
Yeah, I like what
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Graham, a second from Councilman Arona to approve this hot tax fund request for the outdoor video board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
I don't want a hot dog, I want pizza.
I want steak.
I'll get him off light.
We will go down to item F6, update on National Pecos event sergeants.
Mayor and Council, on your tables next to your seats, you're going to find, this is an expense report that CNA put together for us earlier this week. I did want to share that it was a really nice event. If you look on the expenses, we were charging $1 at the door just to get an idea of how many people showed up at the event. And we collected $2,163, and that was with us. We ran out of change at 10:30, so we stopped charging at 10:30, and there were still groups of people coming in. There was people sneaking in through the gates and people going in through the front door and coming out the patio. So there's quite a few people that weren't accounted for in this count. So it was a really good turnout. What else? We had about 47 vendors come down. It was nice to see all the people out there. It was a really nice event. And I don't know if y'all have any questions on the expenses. I know we had talked about whenever I was requesting the funds that we had a sponsor lined up for DJ Best. He was our entertainer throughout the night. He did really good. Poor guy got dehydrated. He had a heat. I don't know what you call it, a heat stroke. He had to lay down in the chamber office and to calm down. Yeah, he wasn't used to our heat. But he did really good. But the sponsor did back out, so that was a hit that we did take. We didn't anticipate that, so that's something that we did end up having to eat at the end of the day. And if you look on page 2, there's an outstanding expense from GTZ, the audio visual. We're disputing that right now. That gentleman was subcontracted by Pantera, the guys that did all the audio and visual for Golden Girl Friday night. So he was here Friday night and Saturday, and he was trying to charge us additional funds for coming out here, and we said, no, you have to take that up with Pantera because they subcontracted you. So that expense should be going away. Yes, but at the end of the day, we know these events truly don't make money. It's more local. So that's where the chamber's got to sit down and kind of decide, do we need to continue doing these things? And that's why we're going to have the workshop on
30th.
July 30th with the council, the hot board, and the chamber, because we want to know, where do we go from here? Would y'all like to see these events continue going on? Maybe get ideas of how else we could go about putting them on, make them a bit more successful. And we did enjoy it. It was a great event, but at the same time, we have to think about, is it feasible for the board to continue doing this?
And I failed to mention during open comments, and I apologize, y'all did a heck of a job.
Oh, thank you.
The Golden Girls and Daniel takes us back to back. It's
Mhm.
hard, but y'all were outstanding. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, and we did do a survey. I sent surveys out to all the hotels. All the hoteliers were telling us that they would help out with that. So we did get feedback that there were people from Utah, Dallas, Nacogdoches, Santa Fe, Fort Stockton that came down for the event and spent the night in our hotels. So there were some people from the hotels attending the event. Yes, the ones I did. I was telling the mayor, I had a friend that works at the chamber in Odessa, so she told me, oh yeah, I do this all the time. I can help you get surveys done. And she started running into so many people she hadn't seen. She said she talked all night and didn't get any surveys done. So, yeah.
No, I wish we could continue it. It's good that we're having a workshop with chamber and CDC
Yes.
to discuss, the direction.
Yes, and we know we need to push sponsorships. That's one thing that for sure, first and foremost, start a lot earlier, push for sponsorships, and that's something that we did not do this time.
Chamber had a little issue there at the end, so, but again, thank you for taking
It all worked out, yeah.
You probably sweated the most that night.
Oh, yes, I got there at 9 in the morning. Yeah, we needed the dunking booth that night. It was hot. Yes, I would have.
Any other questions? Okay. We'll go on to F7, discuss, consider resolution 24-07-01R, a resolution approving the Keep Pecos Beautiful Board budget request from the contingency fund.
Okay, Mayor and Council, this is just basically, you all have already approved the Keep Pecos Beautiful Board budget at our last council meeting. This is just me getting it officialized for record keeping. So for finance and auditing, I'll have it on record as a resolution. So nothing changed on it. It's all the same budget that was presented.
Any questions? May I make a motion to approve that seven, as presented by City Secretary Sauer? Any questions?
I have a motion from Councilman Arona, a second from Councilwoman Trujillo to approve the resolution 24-07-01R as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let the record show the motion carries.
Thank you.
F9, update on grant approved for Maxie Park Walking Trails Project. Holly Girardi.
Mayor, Council, Holly Jaraki, Community Services Director. Happy to report that the Texas Parks of Wildlife has approved the town of Pecos City to receive a 50/50 grant to install trails at our Maxie Park. We were required to provide an outline of how we wanted the trail to traverse through the parks. It actually is through the main Maxie Park where the playgrounds are and extends all the way north and a little bit to the west, back around the fitness court, and then back into the park itself. So it traverses the entire Maxie Park area where the playground, that entire area, basketball courts, all of that. So it's on the exterior of that. The timeline for something like this, apparently there is a one-year timeline before we even will have approval to move forward, and they have advised that we are not allowed to move forward unless we want to lose the grant. Right now, what's taking place is all of the required environmental documentation from the EPA, the Federal Highway, TxDOT, and I want to say there's a couple of others that have to complete their studies in the area, geotechnicals, things of that nature. But what's exciting about it is it's something that we have been talking about and wanting to implement into our park system to allow people to walk safely within the park and not on the roadways. And so hopefully we will have an opportunity to start moving forward with this project June of next year. The 50/50 grant entails it's about, I believe we came in at about $160,000. It's a 6-foot wide trail to allow for ADA access, and then there's some other amenities that we're going to actually add around it as well. Some exercise circuits, a couple of benches, etc. So I'm excited that we got accepted, that we got the grant, and that we can actually add this to our recreational program.
Is the 160 the total cost?
That would be the total cost, and so 50% of that would be covered by Texas Parks and Wildlife.
And the layout's already done for the trails?
Yes, yes.
Have we seen that at all?
No. Well, no. I haven't shown anything because we actually found out that we got approved about almost a month ago. But I wasn't going to show anything previous to knowing whether or not we got approved. So as it gets closer, I'd like to be able to present what we're planning on doing.
Plans can change.
So long as my dimensions don't change. There's certain factors that we put into the grant that we're going to be held to task on. So our goal was to at least get this trail within this particular park first and try to encompass as much walking as possible. And I drew it up. I went on Google Earth and drew it up and calculated it, because I was required to send something to Texas Parks and Wildlife. There were several things that they wanted to see. So that was part of it.
They add a little bit more for the zoo, for the giraffe and all those, on the west side of Tolliver. Can we eventually encompass that? Because that's,
So I want to say that there's other plans for the west side of Tolliver, and I know Mr. Lino is working on that.
be nice to elongate, make it longer for the.
So, I agree completely. This is a start, it's a start, and that's the purpose of it.
That's what I mean, maybe later on we get.
Absolutely. I would love to.
There's a lot of potential, and
Yes.
some of the answer to some of the questions is getting further along with the county on the discussions that we currently have with them related to the Veterans Museum, as well as the design of the cleaned up area. So all of that is being taken into consideration.
So did you, when you were doing the Google Earth, did you look at different designs to keep it within your dimensions that you had to? Or did you just only come up with the one design?
So I had played around with it a little bit, trying to figure out, initially I had the soccer field in it, so that changed. But initially I was trying to just encompass this particular area of the park from the frontage all the way to Kerr Street, because this is where I've seen the most public walking. And this is, I'm out at the park quite often, so I see people in the morning walking along the roadway on either side of Tolliver and Cawthron, and then they kind of cut in off of the frontage. So to answer your question, it was, to me, it was, I didn't want to be ultra fancy with it. I really just wanted them to see that this park should have this.
Well, I think we all agree we have a walking trail.
Yeah.
When you just said that, you see where they're walking, are they walking because that's kind of where maybe the most pavement or something is, to where if they had options off over here, they would walk over there too if it was on a more solid type surface?
So, well, and the surface, we anticipate using a decomposed granite that actually compacts really well after it's wet down. After it's installed and wet down, it serves to be an excellent walking surface. Are they walking on the concrete or the asphalt because it's more comfortable? That's a good question.
I'm not sure comfortable, but just.
Well,
Just easier to walk on a more solid surface.
it is, and so this surface will not be, it's not like walking on grass. We're actually creating a trail for people to be able to walk on, and also, very similar to Mata Rodriguez, also allow for bicycles eventually and/or wheelchair accessibility. And the same, at Mata Rodriguez, this decomposed granite that we have there provides that.
So, in going forward, since you mentioned bicycles, are you thinking bicycles on the same trails as walking?
Well, I'm just saying
I
that.
don't think that's a good idea.
I'm not saying that would be, I'm saying that they would be able to manage a bicycle on that trail as far as weight of someone being on it. Ideally, we want people to utilize the walking trail as a walking trail.
Right.
But the weight factor of a bicycle, it would not sink. It would actually be able to traverse. Pardon?
A stroller.
A stroller.
Ideal.
Yes, a stroller, yes. But to answer your question, as far as this particular design, this is literally was a start. I've been listening to the county ask me, one particular commissioner kept asking me about trails down Tolliver, before we even built Tolliver. But it was actually traversing around the other side, where it went behind the Reeves County Golf Course, et cetera, to 118. We are looking for a solution and opted to start here. Cost-wise, that was another factor, is, we're trying not to, we're trying to spread our dollars in multiple areas, to be quite honest. We don't want to get too I don't want to say fancy, we want to add these other areas ultimately, but I don't feel like, I feel like we need to start and then start adding them to a plan.
It says 6 foot wide.
Yes,
Trail will be 6 foot.
this trail is 6 foot wide.
Is this grant available more than once?
Don't know. I mean,
You know what?
the fact that I gotta wait this long for it to go through the,
Well, that's what I'm saying, should you apply for the next one?
well, there's, actually, there is,
The queue there.
there's some other grants that are, that Texas Parks, that I mentioned to Mr. Lino, that Texas Parks has. I really hate, if I feel like if I say it, jinx it. But there's some indoor, outdoor stuff that we're looking at as well that is now, that we can apply for. But all of their grants, for the most part, are all matching grants. They're not the 90-10s or the 80-20s. So again,
Better than nothing.
yes, yes.
Still doubles your pleasure in the long run.
Yeah, and so to me, it's just about building what we have, trying to add some additional recreation opportunities outdoors, no cost, public park, but starting somewhere.
We said, I'm not very fond of many of these ideas, but this was one that was good. Started with the honey hole and the trails up there. And then back to where the old landfill used to be, to make bike trails over there. So
We're having those conversations, trying to get somebody else to pay for it.
Yeah.
There's another entity that has more money than us. and
Yes, sir.
Just
we're having
one,
those
just
con-
one?
Yeah, we're having
we're the only ones that not.
We are going to be proactive on those conversations.
Yes.
Two of the commissioners have already talked to me a little bit about it, so it's something that we are going to explore as far as that goes.
Good, good.
Is that, I guess where you're talking about, that's where that Bisbee Golf Course was supposed to be, but is that still?
Holly's going to take care of that. That's still on the agenda. It's still in her budget. Yes, sir.
As soon as we finish the punch list for the roadway.
I'd like, if you could bring our next meeting, maybe where that trail's going to be.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to bring, what I can do is actually give you a picture of what was outlined, yes. Again, with the update and the fact that we're having to wait a whole year, practically, before we could even get started,
So the studies.
well, it gives me an opportunity to contact Texas Parks and Wildlife based on some of the comments that have been said here to see, hey, do I have an opportunity to make some adjustments?
Yeah.
But, you want to dot your i's, cross your t's with the grants. And sometimes, this is the second time we've been accepted with Texas Parks. So I just really wanted to be careful.
How long will those environmental studies take?
I don't know, but they clearly outlined June of next year for us. That's how they outlined it.
What would the ETA be if and when it all?
So, I already have so I already have my quotes, completed everything, and once we are able to complete all of the documentation that they'll send after the fact, there's we have to be the administrators of it. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it actually is. Once they send that and we execute our documentation, I'll probably come back to council with a resolution identifying our piece of the pie, so to speak. And I don't know that it would take that long. I would probably want to anticipate, because it would be summertime, I would probably anticipate near end of August to end of September if we're able to complete everything we're required to complete to have this up and going. That's the goal.
I don't know if we have a master plan of all the walking trails we'd like to have out there, or the biking trails, which, as a bicycle rider, I think they should be totally different trails.
I agree.
But,
I agree. And that way,
or is it something that needs to be updated at this point if we have something in place that was really laid out?
for bike trails?
For walking trails.
Oh, for walking trails. So,
Park area.
You know, the designs that were presented, we had multiple designs for the parks. They literally were very different. And they started in, I think, 2015. And they literally have changed. So it's probably advantageous for us to look at start looking at that, but the fact of the matter, pardon?
Might need an update or something does need to be considered.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna add the veterans.
So the thing with the fact that there's something in place right now that's being worked, and Mr. Lino's, working directly with the county, there would be some changes as to what we're going to do there. So, but I'm not saying that we can't go in and try to create an update what's already there.
We need to update it, and then we need to execute.
And
We had a
Yes.
plan that was done and was put on the shelf.
Yeah.
And the plans that we've done, some of the master plans, some of the planning that has been done in the past probably isn't relevant anymore. So there's some stuff that we need to look at, we need to update those.
Yeah.
But then we need to put timelines on them so that we can get those things done.
Yeah. So the plans that are there right now primarily consisted of what was going to happen where the zoo was. That's what our plans have. It's like, that was the beginning, and I believe, I know you probably saw that a while back.
Yeah, kind of fuzzy at this point, though.
Yes, and so that's why I'm saying, we need to revisit it completely and get it down and execute it, as Mr. Lino said. Not sit on it, literally put it in place.
As a county, you worked out a deal with the county to replace that?
Ongoing, Curtis Wilson, the engineer with the county, is designing what kind of conceptual idea that I had for the area where the zoo and where the baseball fields are at. He's putting the cost to it, he's absorbing the cost, and as soon as we get that, then we can have further conversations with the judge. And I will bring that back to council when that happens.
Anything else? Okay, we will go to item F10, update on Eddy Street traffic striping.
Our favorite
Favorite
topic.
topic.
I'm happy to have, after the conversation in our last council meeting, I did reach out to the county engineer, Curtis Wilson. He was more than happy to assist us, and told me that he would like to take it to Commissioner Court just to advise them, because he is required to do that. I asked him if I needed to wait, and he's like, no, let them know that we're going to help you. And I said, well, timeline? He said, a couple of weeks. I was like, okay. He says, I am going to make your lines 4 inches instead of 2. And I was like, great, I'll take that. You know.
As long as they stay more than 6 months, a little more.
So, yeah, so I'm happy to report that. I mean, the county has always stepped in to try to assist us, and he's always made himself available. And so I'm very appreciative of it.
So hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll have line. So I tell you, people don't.
I drive on Eddy
drive a lot
Street.
in it, but on Eddy Street, and
I
they're
am
right in the middle.
I'm surprised.
God.
I've been really surprised a few times, like, okay. But, you know, ultimately, we are very much concerned about the safety of our community,
Yeah.
and is truly out of our control. We have a great contractor coming in, but in the meantime, we're going to do what we can do to provide some kind of safe measure for our traffic flow. Thank you.
Item F11, update on progress of the joint entity housing project. Charles Lino.
Mayor and Council, Charles Lino, City Manager. A hot topic. I've had conversations with several of you, and this is an ongoing project right now that we have, where we, as I talked to you last time, We've reached out, and I have the expert Bobby Maldonado working on the interlocal agreements. He is working on that. He's slated to come into town on the 22nd and 23rd. And we're hoping that we will have the agreements, and then we can distribute them to each taxing entity for signature. And I will bring it back. We do have a meeting on the 25th, and so I anticipate that we can have that agreement reviewed and hopefully exercise it on the 25th, and then we can get this project moving forward. And whenever I have comment or conversations with the other taxing entities, I'm kind of sharing the same information with them. Ms. McKinney from the hospital asked that once we get everything done, the hospital wants to have like a cursory. I'll probably have a special 2x6 meeting to just review it and get it done as a preemptive measure from that standpoint. So as soon as I can get that agreement, I'm going to call that meeting.
Sounds good. Been long and waiting, been dealing with this thing since January.
We have. And once we do that, then we can award the contract and start getting them to mobilize and maybe get a shovel in the ground in the next couple of months. And I think that would make everybody happy.
Have you, I know you haven't awarded it to anybody in particular yet, but you already have.
We have the bids that came in. We've evaluated them, and we do have 2 that we've had interviews with, and we do have a preference. The city staff through the evaluation process has one, but I don't want to, until we have the interlocals in place, I kind of don't want to pull the trigger and tell them, but hold. I want everybody to be notified at the same time. So that's why, do I have information? Yes. Am I ready to share it? Not yet. And I think it's just, we have to cover ourselves from that standpoint.
Get everybody in the starting line.
Yeah, absolutely, yes, sir.
Well, hopefully, our next meeting, we can go ahead and pull the trigger on that.
That's my goal. Yes, sir.
And if we have to have a special meeting for that, let's have it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
They like that, with the bids and stuff, that's y'all's decision, that's not ours.
That's correct. We'll bring it to you. I'll have to prove it, because it is an RFQ from the city standpoint. We did the evaluation process based upon the criteria that we put out there in the RFP. Yep, absolutely, with any type of a contract. But council is the ultimate approver on that.
You just give us the recommendation.
That's correct.
Other entities don't need to approve that.
No, but I want to make them aware of who it is prior to us awarding, just so that they're aware of it and know that we did go through the evaluation process. And we did select the most qualified, we feel.
We sent out a request for the infrastructure part of it.
We have not done that yet. It does.
Anything else?
Yes, ma'am. Well, and part of it is included in part of it. The infrastructure is part of the RFQ that we did put out there, Teresa. It is. It's a complete project to take it from dirt to vertical build. Yes, ma'am.
So once you award it, do they have a time frame to start mobilizing their equipment and supplies and everything that they're doing?
Once we award the contract, then we'll have negotiations with them on getting that done, and we will make sure that we are aggressive. And I think both of the ones that we've had discussions with said their mobilization times are very short. And so we'll hold them to that.
So the more we're holding, the higher prices are getting.
Agreed. And you know how I am. I'm very frugal. I want it done now.
And that would be something, that I would have liked was, once awarded, that they would start, buying the stuff and have it ready before the escalation of prices. The way prices are going crazy.
Well, and the way that it's done is they're giving us a bid. We're going to award a contract for what they do. If their prices go up on the interim, that's on them. It's not on us. And I've voiced with you, unless there's underlying stipulations or we change the scope of the work, I have no problem arguing with contractors that we're not accepting a change order unless it's from us.
Okay.
So.
Can we?
Neither can a lot of people. We're getting a lot of questions. Any other questions of me, y'all? Thank you.
Who's going to be overseeing the project? I guess that's
City is the lead agency on the project.
Okay.
City is the lead agency. Everything will be detailed in the interlocal agreement, and I'm kind of having the conversations with Bobby because I want to tailor it to where we make sure that every entity is covered from that standpoint, including how everything will flow so that we have the right accountability. Right now, we have a strong system. I'm not saying the county doesn't. I'm not saying the hospital doesn't, but right now, the city is the lead agency, so I anticipate everything will flow.
So everybody's divvied up their money.
Yes, sir. Well, they will. As soon as this thing is executed, then everything will come together and we'll start seeing some activity from all of the entities. They've already appropriated the money from their boards. Their boards have already said that they're willing to do this, so that money's already set aside.
So do we have somebody to actually oversee the construction? That makes it from our side, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing?
Have a CMAR.
We do not. And so it is something that we will, it'll probably be a group effort. And if I have my way, it's going to be multiple entities, because right now, there's a lot of it that I'm going to have to rely on. The city doesn't have an engineer right now. The county has a good engineer. So I anticipate that Curtis Wilson's going to be highly involved in a lot of the project. I know that Holly's a bulldog on some of this. I know Kelvin is too. So there's some things that we will have a good team that will be put together. It's not going to be a single effort. It's probably going to be a team effort.
Sounds good.
We share it all. We share it all.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
At this time, we will go into executive session under Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney, 551.072 real estate, 551.074 personnel issues, 551.087 economic development, and it is 6:37 p.m.
Don't worry, guys, we'll have you in and out of here.